Yeah. Participants.
Hello everyone. Can anyone please confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, madam, you are audible.
Yes, Miss Pra, you are audible.
Thank you, sir. Good evening and a warm welcome to Disciples India Learning Forum, a unit of Disciples India Educational Resources Private Limited. Let us experience the joy of learning. Hi, I am Misbah Kulsum and I will be your host for today's session. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone to please follow these instructions until the end of this session. Request you to kindly mute your phones. Possibly can sit in a place where you are not disturbed. Request to ask questions at the end of the session. Remember, a new learning is always difficult initially but becomes a habit eventually. Let us have a review on today's session agenda. First will be the welcome and introduction, journey so far of Disciples India Learning Forum, guest speakers introduction, and the followed will be the session. Disciples India Learning Forum. Disciples India Group Bangalore is happy to present a platform purely for the joy of learning. It is envisaged to be an exciting learning platform where like-minded individuals and organizations can come together, share experiences, and learn and grow as individuals, professionals, and organizations. Our main key objectives are to provide a platform to share and exchange ideas and experiences, to create and develop personal and professional network of learners, to enhance effective communication and leadership skills, to foster learning and contribute for personal, professional, and organizational development, to update with life management skills and contribute as an effective member to the society. Here is a quick introduction of the core committee members of Disciples India Learning Forum 2024. Dr. A.M. Suresh, Forum Advisor, N.K. Sundaram, President, Mr. Shivaprasad K.M., Vice President, Dr. Praveen Gujjar, Secretary, Professor Jayant H., Joint Secretary, Mr. Akhilesh N.N., Assistant Secretary, Ms. Yamuna A., Disciples Coordinator, and myself, Ms. Misbah Kulsum Khan, Disciples Coordinator. Let's start with a brief look at our journey so far. The Disciples India Learning Forum has conducted a remarkable 130 sessions over the past 6 years. In the year 2018, we had hosted 24 learning sessions. In the year 2019, we had hosted 25 learning sessions. In the year 2020, we had hosted 24 learning sessions. In the year 2021, we had hosted 8 learning sessions. In the year 2000, I request you to kindly mute your phone. Thank you. In the year 2022, we had hosted 24 learning sessions. In the year 2023, we had hosted 24 learning sessions. Before we dive into today's topic, let's quickly revisit some of the highlights from our previous Disciples India Learning Forum sessions for any new member joining us today. This was a 127th online learning session in the year 2024, and it was the first learning session on the topic why soft skills are essential for success. Followed by, we had a 128th online learning session hosted on the topic cyber safety awareness and digital safety. Then followed by, we had our 129th online learning session on the topic the power of debating. The previous session was our 138th online learning session on the topic disruptive innovation for startups. I hope you all are ready to experience the joy of learning today. Let's begin today's session. Today's session is brought to you in partnership with IDP, IELTS, ICICIdirect.com, and ClassPlus, in association with Department of Information Science and Engineering, Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, Bengaluru. Presenting you our 131st online learning session on the topic, the study and career opportunities for Indian students in Germany. And the guest speaker for today is Mr. Adarsh T.M. Let's welcome our guest speaker for the day. For that, I would like to invite Dr. Ramesh S. Vadvadagi, Associate Professor, Department of Information Science and Engineering, Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, Bengaluru, to introduce the guest speaker. Over to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Very good evening to all of you. I'm Dr. Ramesh, Associate Professor, Department of Information Science and Engineering, Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, Bengaluru. I welcome you all to this special talk on the study and career opportunities for Indian students in Germany by Mr. Adarsh T.M. And it's been being organized by the Disciples India Learning Forum in association with the Department of Information Science and Engineering, NCET Bengaluru. I take this opportunity to introduce my institution as well as my department. The Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology was started in the year of 2001 under the banner of Nagarjuna Education Society, Bengaluru. It is basically an autonomous engineering college and is been affiliated to VTU Belagavi and is been recognized by the government of Karnataka and approved by AICTE New Delhi. Okay. Currently, the institution is running 6 UG courses and 2 PG courses and many research centers. The Department of Information Science and Engineering is been organizing many special talks that efforts to impart the learning abilities of the students by organizing many FDPs and workshops. Today we have a special talk on the study and career opportunities for Indian students in Germany by an eminent personality, Mr. Adarsh T.M. I also take the opportunity to introduce today's speaker. Mr. Adarsh is basically a software developer who has more than 10 years of experience. Currently, he's been associated with automated guided vehicles in Konkranes, Germany since 2017. Prior to that, he was been with Centralia Labs, Netherlands during 2016. And he was basically Android application developer for that Centralia Labs. Mr. Adarsh has a very strong academic background also. He completed his graduation in computer science and engineering from Bapuji Institute of Engineering and Technology, Davangere in the year of 2009. He also holds a master's degree in computer science from University of Paderborn, completed in the year of 2015. With a strong educational background and a diverse experience, Mr. Adarsh continues to excel in the field of the software development and contributing to the advancement of technology and innovation. With this brief introduction, I would like to introduce Mr. Adarsh to the audience. May I request Mr. Adarsh to take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh, for the...
Okay, sir.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Ramesh, for the warm welcome and the introduction. So before I give my presentation, I just want to tell you a short story about how I started my journey to come to Germany. So this all started when I was doing my bachelor's in engineering. So I always had a fascination about understanding robotics and automated guided vehicles. I had my interest. About this from my bachelor's time because one of my professors, he was an inspiration for me to think about this master's and future education programs. So my journey started with discussing a few things with my professors and also one of my family members. They all guided me in a very good direction. And also to give a background about my education, I did my basically the kindergarten till my bachelor's of engineering from Davangere itself. So it was also a huge step for me to go to a new country and start my journey there. So this was a very short introduction from my side. Let me start the presentation which I have for you guys.
ಹಲೋ ಈಗ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಇದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ.
So I hope everyone can see my presentation.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you for the confirmation. Yeah. So the agenda, what I would like to start with is how do you want to basically start your journey? What are the things you need to consider if you want to start thinking about going to not only Germany, but any other place? So I'll give a brief explanation of how you can start with and what you do after you arrive to Germany, and a brief introduction about what kind of courses, what kind of exam process takes place here in Germany, and also after that, what you expect in the sense of finding a job or maybe continuing your journey to another level, maybe PhD or even more. And I'll also give a brief indication about how the interview process would look like. So with that, let's start. So how do you start even thinking about coming to Germany? So like I said, the first step starts with discussing few things with your professors in your college itself. You'll be surprised to know how much insight they would already have, because they would have known students or who have already been to Germany or who are already thought of going to Germany or any other place. So, and with that, they would also help you to choose what kind of specialization you would want to go for. So it basically comes up to what kind of bachelor's you started with. I started with computer science, and I ended up doing my specialization in something called embedded systems. I will explain about this in the coming slides as well. And also, if you find your specialization, try to Google this. This sounds very trivial, but simple search in the Google will give you a lot of information about what kind of specializations is more beneficial, and also in which field can it be more leading to your next step, even for your job as well. And once you find your specialization, you could directly contact the universities. And nowadays, you can contact them over emails, and also if in some universities they also have appointments where you can call them up and ask them if you have some inquiries about the courses which they offer. And if you think all of this is too much for me, I want some professional help, there are several consultancies which basically provide this kind of service. Speaking from personal experience, I also had help from these consultancies, which I felt was. Can you please mute your mic, please?
All are requested to mute your phone.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on. So as I was saying, speaking from personal experience, some of these consultancies, they also helped me in approaching different universities, and also they helped me in training for the exams, which was part of the admission process. So what's next? You need to prepare for something called TOEFL, which is test of English as a foreign language, and also IELTS. So these are the few exams Germany looks for. And of course, you also need to submit your credit scores from your bachelor's as well. But these were the two exams which most of the universities look for, and the grades for this is also important for these kind of universities. There are two ways you can prepare for this kind of exams. It can be either you do it by yourself. I've met some people who actually did this studies and preparation by themselves, and also I've seen people who went to consultancies and institutions which helped them to go for a better score in TOEFL exams. And also, again, speaking from experience, I felt having professional coaching for these kind of things would be really beneficial, because they already know what to look for and what kind of approach you would need to take while answering the questions in the exams. Yeah, like I said, the university's course also matters. And then you need to prepare for your exams, which would be a bit nerve-wracking for some, but I would say sometimes you might not make it in your first try, but it's always a learning curve there. You always learn something new from your failures. That's what I personally believe. So what's next? You have your exams, you gave your exams, you have a nice score with your TOEFLs, and what do you do next? You have also applied for your favorite universities, and I say universities because it's always nice to keep some options. I would suggest to apply to keep an option for more than one university and apply or send your documents to those kind of universities. And now you get response from the university which you expected, and if you're lucky enough, maybe it's the same university which you looked for. And what would you do next? Sorry, what would you do next? The first thing which I personally recommend is contact the university for what kind of accommodation they can arrange for. Usually universities have something called international office, And this office would be dedicated for students who are arriving from different countries, and they would take care of providing accommodations, and not at least on a temporary basis. And for me, it was really, really helpful because I've made some friends in the international office, because most of them were just graduates, and they also were really helpful in providing me looking for accommodation when I first came here to Germany. And next thing would be very essential, I would say. So I say preparing for necessary things, because this can vary from warm clothing to getting packed with your tasty snacks, which you would take to Germany. And yeah, you will have a huge list of things to check off before you start packing to Germany. So next, you start your journey. So I found this thing very, very, very crucial, because now back when I moved to Germany, there were not much social media, or you couldn't get in touch with students who were already studying here. But now you have basically groups created in almost all social media, and I know many people are very active on the social media, especially when it comes to people moving to different countries. Nowadays, we have groups about almost everything on WhatsApp. So getting in contact with the people who are already studying here is a crucial thing, which was also helpful, was the case for me, because I think back then we had Orkut, which is almost the basic thing we had back then, because in Orkut also we had some groups about students studying in Paderborn, and I met some people who were already there, and it's always nice to get first-hand information from people who are actually studying there. This was indeed helpful. Back, if I think about that right now, you couldn't even make a phone call directly. So even though there were some options back then, but the only way I could think of for back then was to have a call over Skype. Even WhatsApp was almost non-existent. I think if you're lucky enough, some phones like Nokia had some apps where you can install that and send messages through it. But Orkut back then was the connecting social media for me to get in contact with people who were already in Germany. And next one is prepare for visa. So this is a huge umbrella term, I would say, prepare for visa. And I wouldn't get in detail to explain this, because this might be subject to change whenever you are planning to apply for Germany. So I would recommend to contact your nearest visa office to get more information about how the visa process works. And of course, always keep in touch with the international office, and they would keep an eye open basically for you. And I've seen cases where people working from the international office have arrived at the airport itself to pick up students, and also take care in arranging for initial accommodation. So always keep in contact with the international office, and they are very friendly, and they will be always ready to help you. And then next one is to carry appropriate amount of money. So I say this because usually you would carry a blocked check of certain amount which you have to encash after coming to Germany, and then sometimes if you are unlucky, the process of encashing the check into a German bank would take more than 3 to 4 weeks. So in that time period, it's good to have enough money so that you don't end up in a very problematic situation, basically. So now you are here in Germany. What would you do next? The first and the most exciting thing is to attend the orientation program from the university. I found this really, really enjoying, and also it's a different experience to meet people from different countries. And even though all of us are just here to complete our masters, but in this initial phase, you would see people from different country, different culture, different ideas, and it's exciting to meet new people and learn from them. And sometimes the universities also have their final registration process once you arrive once you arrive in Germany, and this would usually be something like paying for semester fees or getting the entire registration finished. And the next one would be to visit the local visa office of the city. So there you are basically, you would be arriving with the Schengen visa, and upon arrival, after you get registered as a student, your visa status needs to be changed to the student visa. So that would be the next step. And also after that, you need to get registered in the city. So it's almost illegal to not be registered in the city where you stay. So it's very, very important that you get registered in the city where you live in. And the next important thing is the insurance, because medication and treatments are very expensive here. If you haven't got any insurance from India, it's always good to get an insurance here in Germany. And I found that as a student, they always try to have insurance which does not cost too much. So having insurance is not just essential, but it's a part of daily process here. So you need to have health insurance, otherwise sometimes you might not get registered in the city as well. Then you are here, you're ready to start learning, and let's see how important the studies are. So here I would give a short outline of the courses which are offered here. So usually there would be 8 to 10 courses. This also includes the specialization which you would go through, and some universities have projects, and sometimes thesis would be optional. In my case, in the University of Paderborn, I had to do both project and thesis. So this combination would vary based on the universities which you go for. And of course, in German language course will sometimes be optional, but I would say to go for it. In the university I studied, I found it both fascinating and strange at the same time, because basically when you sign up for a language course, I had to pay some amount of money. But if you clear that, basically pass that course, the money would be returned back. I'm talking about the case when you're registered for a language course in Germany, in the university. So this was a bit strange that if you pass the course, you get your money back. So money was a nice motivator in this case. And typically the duration of the course would be 1 to 2 years, but in many cases, if people find it difficult, it may also get extended to 3 to 4 years as well. Now, the exam process. We usually in Germany, most of the universities have written exams. But in my case, in my specialization in embedded systems, the course was called Informatik, which basically means computer science. My exam process was more like an interview. So to give an in-depth information about what I mean by interview is, for example, I had a combination of subject, which was mobile communication and operating system. So they consider this as one module. I would have to prepare for both the exams to be given on the same day. And I take an appointment with both of the professors. They discuss with each other, and if both of them are free, they give me an exam date. And the exam process is something like as follows. For the first half hour, they asked me questions about the first subject, which in my case was mobile communication. And the other professor would note down about how good or bad I'm giving or answering the questions. And after the first half hour, the subject gets switched, and I would be asked the questions about the other subject, which was operating system. So this was also a bit of a different way of exams compared to the exams which we have in India. There were also cases where the professors would sometimes fail me. So the grading usually goes from 1 to 5, 1 being excellent and 5 means they failed you. So in this situation, the first half hour would be one subject, and the next half hour would be another subject. And after that, they would ask you to, they would discuss, both professors would discuss among themselves, and they would say, hey, you did answer the questions in so and so way, but we think you can do much better, and that is why we are failing you. It was a bit difficult in the beginning, to be honest, but as I understood about how the subject was, here the professors did not only want you to, they don't expect any definitions, but they want to know your definition about a particular concept. So they want to know how good you have understood this subject itself, rather than just saying some definitions which are already printed in the books. So mind you, these are the professors who have created the subjects, the course basically. So they know what the course is about. So it was difficult, like I said in the beginning, but if you truly know what the course is about, you can easily excel in the exams. So this was about one of the exam experience which I had in the university here. So it's not only about studying when you're here. It's also about meeting new people, and you'll be fascinated to see how some cultures are, even though different, but on the core level, when you look in detail, the core level, the customs, they would be so similar to ours. I had a really nice experience with meeting people from Turkey, from Finland, from Japan, and we shared so much information, especially when it comes to food. Even though we have different variety of food, they were so amazed to see the food which we have is so much similar to some of the ingredients which they add into their food. So it's not about just studying, it's also meeting new people and also explore the place. Um, Here they have many tourisms basically targeting students, and I say targeting because they really provide a nice tourist service for a really small price, where students can uh, go. I had the privilege of going to this kind of tourist tours organized for students, basically. And yeah, there also you meet really nice people. And also when you meet people, you tend to discuss few things formally, informally, and it ultimately comes up to exchanging your thoughts and your ideas and trying to understand. Even though we are from different countries, we are not so different in the core of our being. So now you are almost finished with your studies here. You are doing your master's. You're almost finishing up your project. You are thinking about, hey, I'm almost done. What do I need to do now? Do I need to go for further studies like PhD, or do I want to go for something in a more professional working area? And sometimes when you think about this, there are a couple of ways how things work here. Basically, if you go for thesis or even projects, sometimes students, if they don't find a certain subject which is not interesting for them, they approach the software industries, for example, Bosch, Siemens, and other companies. They offer thesis from their company. And also, if you're lucky enough, they might be offering internship. And if the company is happy with your internship, maybe if you're lucky, you would also end up working in the same company. And there's also something called student assistant. And this is, you would be basically working under a PhD graduate or someone who is working under a professor, and you would be assisting them in their research and other purposes. So I had the privilege of being a student assistant under a machine learning group. And I was also very lucky to also do a thesis under the same professor. So this is also something which I felt both engaging and also at the same time it was something I could learn from it, which I could use in my learned experience from from the courses which I did. So it all ultimately it comes up to what is your choice. Do you want to go directly to a professional level, or do you want to pursue your work from an academic point of view? Then you are finally done with your master's and you start hunting for jobs here in Germany. What I saw in the university I studied is they had organized something called speed interview, which is almost similar to what we have in India, where different companies, they come to your college and they organize interviews. there they would, in this case, it's more like they would have 10 to 20 companies setting up a platform where you can introduce yourself, you explain your ideas or your interests and what you want to see yourself in your career point of view. And if they are interested in you, they would contact you. So this is one of the process which I saw was also interesting. Another way is online portals. These are basically services which agencies which have tie-ups with their clients, and the clients can vary from different companies. You would have to enter your details about what your interests are, what kind of job you are looking for, your specialization, your expertise in whichever software field, and they would try to match your profile with their clients. When I say client, the companies which the agency are affiliated with. And if the profiles match, you would end up with an interview, and they would take care of organizing the interview process for you. So these are one of the few ways where you can search for jobs here in Germany. And how about the interview process? The first step would be generally like a informal phone call. They would like to know you, or they could also have an online video interview to start with. And also they can, if they are interested, they would assign you a task. This task would be, they say, hey, we would like to see software which does A and which does B. And if everything goes well, they would invite you to their company to have an in-depth personal interview. And after that, it is a technical interview where they would like to know your expertise in the subject which you have applied for. And lastly, if you're lucky enough, they would give you a tour of the office, which is, in my experience, a good sign if they try to give you a tour of the office, which was also the case for me. For me also, the whole interview process was something which I described now. I had a first phone interview a phone call where they wanted to know me a bit better than my job resume. And then I was assigned a certain software which they would use later on to judge my technical capabilities. And again, after that, they had invited me to the company, and I had to, it was mainly an informal, even in-depth informal interview, so to say. And after that, in the technical interview, I had to give an explanation about why was my approach done in so and so way with the software they asked me to develop. They would rather, it's always what I found out is, instead of saying why you did it like this, you can say, yeah, I didn't know any other way. I found out if you're honest enough and if you have truly done your research, there's no wrong answer for it. It's just how you present it which matters. And I would say it's always good to be honest in whichever response you give. It may not be the response they want, but I found out they would appreciate your honesty rather than saying some things which you don't really mean. And yeah, after my technical interview, I also had the tour of the office, and on the same day, they had asked me about my salary expectations. So this was a brief overview of how an interview process typically works here. And yeah, what would you do if you get hired? first is you would have to change your visa status, and this would be typically done by the company, or if you are, because in my case, they had organized a firm which would take care of visa process, changing from this student visa to something called a blue card. So if I've also heard in some cases that the company wouldn't help you, but not help you, but they wouldn't hire a third-party company to take care of your visa status. But in any case, the firm which you have your employment, they would be ready to assist you in any ways. And here, the probation is for 6 months. They would try to know how good or bad you're working, and based on that, they would have a new contract. Sometimes the contract is for an indefinite time, but it's always good to discuss these things beforehand. So that was a brief introduction and overview of how things are here in Germany when you start your studies, and after that you look for job. Any questions?
Sir, is German is compulsory? German language need to be taught or to be learned by the student before joining there?
I would recommend people to learn at least basic German, because it would be really helpful, because here most of the people prefer to talk in German. What I've noticed is, even though they know English, they would like to talk to you in German. So I would say at least learning basic German would be appreciated when you are coming here.
So anybody wants to ask question, you can unmute and ask the question. Otherwise, you can put it in the chat box also.
Yes, sir. I have a question directed to my chat box by name Sinha Gupta. What are good places other than universities to apply for a scholarship if I want to study in Germany?
I don't have enough information about the scholarship and which universities I go for. Sorry. But you can, let's put it like this. If you're interested in the university, you could also discuss, or you can explain your interest in the university itself. When it comes to scholarship, I do not know if all universities provide scholarship, but it's always good to discuss with the universities themselves, because sometimes they have some programs which may not be directly affiliated with the scholarship, but they would have some courses which might be helpful for students.
Others, there is one more question. Can you share your first day of experience in Germany?
Yeah. It was, to be honest, not so pleasant experience, to be put mildly. I had to fly from Bangalore to Delhi, and from Delhi to Munich, and from Munich I landed in a small village, basically, which is called Lippstadt, which is close to Paderborn. And yeah, the whole journey took almost more than a day, I would say. After arriving at the airport, there was supposed to be one person to pick me up, but for any reason, he wasn't there. I ultimately ended up talking to a taxi guy to say, hey, I'm new here and I need to go to Paderborn. So yeah, the first day I had to go in the taxi, basically. And yeah, I was a bit terrified because it was a new place and you end up going in a taxi for the first time, but also a bit of I was very curious to see how it would be, but I ended up the taxi driver was very friendly. He talked to me throughout the way. Maybe he noticed I was a bit nervous, and he took me to the university. And there I met people from the international office, and yeah, they are really, really helpful. I explained them my situation, and they immediately organized a small accommodation place for me. And yeah, even though the first day was a bit tiresome, I was really fortunate to be fortunate enough to get assistance from the university people. So yeah, even though it started rough, at the end of the day, it was a easy stay in for the first day in Germany, I would say.
Thank you. And there's one more question by Ms. Sudha. Sir, I want to study in Germany. Like, how do I start now? I'm in my final year of engineering.
Yeah, I would suggest the first thing is you need to know what kind of subject do you want to do your specialization in. This may sound a very huge thing, but I would suggest to discuss few things with your professors to see, hey, let's say I did my specialization in embedded systems. I discussed few things with my professors, and also one of my family members, which basically provided me some insight about yeah, maybe in embedded systems, which is a bit related to applied computer science, and then from there it's more like starting bit by bit. You see, you first try to understand what is your interest, because here people do it for the passion of studying and passion of understanding what they learn. So it's more like an applied science. It's not, you just don't learn, but you actually learn to apply those things in your daily life. So the first thing I would do is to just talk to your professors in your college, and then maybe they would give you some tips on where to go to. And then, yeah, like I said, simple Googling won't harm anything. And yeah, if you find something which you are really interested in, you can contact the universities. And then also, if you find this bit overwhelming, you can also take help of some of the consultancies which provide assistance in this field.
Okay. Thank you. And there's one more question from Mr. G. Tejas. Sorry. Hi, sir. I'm interested in cloud platform. So, is there any separate course for MSc in cloud computing in Germany? Specific question.
Yeah. So cloud, I would say there would be a separate course. There might be few. So when you say course, it's like informatic is a course, or embedded systems is a informatic is a branch, but embedded systems is a course. I'm not sure if you can find a course dedicated to cloud computing, but you might find several subjects which might be relating to cloud computing. But this is a bit of a big umbrella topic, so I cannot specify if there is a particular university or particular course which covers only cloud computing.
Probably guidance from any external agencies would be really helpful for you, Tejas, on this.
Exactly. So if I were you and you already know what kind of specialization you're looking for, which from the looks of the question, you know exactly in which subject you're interested in, getting consult. I think these kind of services, they would give you a first introduction about what kind of service they provide, and you say, hey, I am looking for this kind of course which provides exactly in your case cloud computing. They would directly say, hey, I don't know, University of Paderborn or Frankfurt University or SN University, they would have this kind of course. So I don't have a direct answer, but I would suggest if you already know what you're looking for, then you can consult this kind of service, Tejas.
Hope you got the question. Answer. There are some more questions over here. Before we go ahead, anybody who wants to unmute and ask question, you can ask.
So can we please get to know what are the living expenses it might cost in Germany?
Yeah. So it also depends on where you stay. So as a student, your expenses. I take an example of. I get this from my personal experience. So usually, the semester fee would be around 200 euros for 6 months, and you get your accommodation. If you get an accommodation from the university, that would be another 250 euros. So, and you would next would be insurance, another 20, and your food expenses maybe around 100. So altogether, if you do not spend on other stuff, but you spend on the most essential things, I would say for a student it would be around 400 to 450 euros on a monthly basis. This is saying you spend a little for the weekends, you go out for food. So, and also the visa system also works based on the amount you have in your account. Typically, I'm talking about the time I was doing my master's. they would calculate 636 euros per month. And if based on the amount of money you have, your visa gets extended based on the balance you have in your account. Does that help you?
So one more
Tejas?
question is German language mandatory, or only if you have if you're more familiar with English is enough?
So I wouldn't say it's mandatory. I would say it's essential, because you get all your courses in English. The professors all explain everything in English, but every document which you fill out is in German. Every official document you fill out in German. Every contract you get here in German. Sometimes your registration form is in German. So that is why I mentioned it's essential to have a knowledge of German language before you come here. And while you are here, I would urge everyone to understand German or go for advanced German courses here after you're here in Germany. If you are already doing German classes in India, that's very good. But without German knowledge, it is not impossible to survive, but it's difficult indeed. And what I also noticed here is German people, they may sound strict, but once you converse with them in English, they also feel, yeah, even this guy is a foreigner. He is trying to understand. He is trying to learn something, and they would be happy to help you even more, I would say. So, in short, it's not mandatory, but it is essential to learn German.
So what about the return investment of in German? So, like, you suppose if you get landed into a job, so what would be the return investment?
What would be? I didn't get you.
Like the return investment, like suppose suppose I have a loan for around 60 lakhs. So if I'm doing a job in German, so by how much will I get paid, and in how many years I can be pay the amount back to the bank? So what kind of like a return investment, how much percentage it would be? I'm asking about it.
This is also a bit tricky question. So here, when you first start a job, basically they would try to give you minimum wage. So let's say you start to work now, you would they calculate something based on gross amount and net amount. You would the tax is almost 40%, 42%. That includes both your insurance and everything. And after deducting that, you may end up with around 3,000 euros on hand. So based on your stay here, I would say once you are not a student, things start to become more expensive. The insurance also gets high. You have to stay in a separate apartment. So you might be able to save around 1,500 or half of what you earn. So using that, you can think about sending money back home with that amount.
There's one more question related to work. Sir, what kind of part-time jobs you did in Germany while studying? And you can share your experience.
Yeah. So yeah, here as a student, you of course, you can do student assistant jobs, but I also worked in kitchens basically. So that is where I learned to make different kinds of salads. So that was one of the part-time jobs which I did, which was also fun because it it it's not like demeaning to think, hey, you're working in a kitchen. It's also an experience because it's not just me, it's every German students do, everyone does it. That is why it's called a part-time job. You're doing it part-time. But yeah, that was a nice experience.
What you learn from the experience matters a lot than the work. So every work is same, right?
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
Hello.
there's one more question from Mr. Prajwal GR. Sir, myself Prajwal, ECE branch. Would you suggest me to choose the course for masters? Which course would you suggest? Anything you want to guide on this, others?
Let me think. Yeah. Again, for me, coming from an informatic in a computer science background, it is a bit difficult to suggest something with an electrical background. If the University of Paderborn definitely provides a course for electricals, I would definitely suggest to look into University of Paderborn. That is from my personal experience because it is known for its English courses. So sometimes when we started in the university, there were not many courses offered in English, but when I finished my master's, there were several courses. I mean, there were no electrical courses when I started, but after a span of 2 years, already electrical courses were started. I would first check out University of Paderborn to start with because I know for sure they provide nice course for students from electrical background.
Okay. Yes. Anybody? Any questions?
Hello, Adarsh. Ketan this side. I'm from a computer science background. So I just wanted to understand what was that shift in your lifestyle when you left India and went to Germany? So was that like really good? How communication changed, and as well as how was Germany compared to India, like lifestyle there? Just wanted to ask that.
That's a very interesting question. It depends on how much time you have to hear it from me. But I'll keep it short. So I would say I would become more direct in talking to people because that is one of I would say a bit of a culture shock because in India, not all of us tend to speak our minds. And here it was a bit shock for me. It's both in the positive and the negative side. So if you do something good, especially when you're working as a student assistant or giving a presentation, if you did a good job, they would really appreciate it. And if you didn't do a good job, they would tell you, hey, what went wrong? Was there something wrong? They would not, I'm not saying they will ridicule you. They would try to know, was there something wrong? What prevented you in doing that? And in many cases, it's not, they will point out, hey, you did something wrong. They will also try to guide you. You did this wrong, but you can do it in this way, and then that would be better. So that was one culture shock, I would say. And yeah, and become more punctual because people value time here in Germany too much, I would say. And I've also started to appreciate the value of time. So those would be the two important things which I learned and a bit of a turning part in my life.
Nice to hear. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Um, there's one more question from a parent, actually, others. Hello, sir. My daughter would like to study abroad if she is not getting a seat in Bangalore. So, how is the medical course there when compared to Indian universities?
Oh, so I've seen people coming here after they did their medical course. So they would have to go through few of the medical courses. I'm not sure which exactly, but they would expect full language proficiency. That would be up to C2. We have language courses starting from A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, and language would be the first thing they would have to learn. About the courses, I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure about what kind of medical course they would provide. But I would say the most important thing they would have to do is to be very proficient in German, because they would be doctors later, so they have to be well versed with the language. Shiv Prasad, I think you're on mute.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Sir, I'm Kushi from CS background. Currently, I'm in third year and I'm thinking to continue in management field. Any business college recommendation and booming course?
Yeah. Again, for courses related to management and people, and in general, courses which have regular interaction with people, they all require complete proficiency with German. At least I'm not aware of courses which are just in English, in like management level courses. That is the only thing I can tell, Kushi. I'm so sorry.
No, it's no. Okay, I'll take a last question. It's from Prajwal again. So, will you be able to get time for doing the part-time job? And what about the college timings?
Yeah, that's a nice question. So part-time jobs, yeah, you can make up time. In fact, I would say you will have too much of free time, because it's not like you would have courses, classes every day, every hour of the week, because it would be split up based on the courses which would be provided. And let's say there are, out of 10 courses, some courses would be provided in the summer and some would be provided in the winter. And in those 5 courses, you wouldn't have all the courses on the same day. It would be split up in 2 days in a week, 3 days, or sometimes 4 days in a week. So you would have enough time to go do these part-time jobs, I would say. Not only part-time jobs, you can also do extracurricular activities also have. So you will definitely have time.
Okay, thank you. And there are 2 more questions which popped up. Okay. Where can I find information related to medical field in Germany, or whom to contact? Probably it's the external agency you can look out for. Probably Pavitra, you are there?
Yeah, yes,
Pavitra?
Shiprasad. Yes, I'm here.
Yes. I think probably you will be the right person to give inputs on the other courses apart from the computer science, any related to medical and management. probably you can introduce yourself and give some inputs and your number so that they can directly contact you and take more inputs.
Sure, sir, definitely. So, hi everyone. This is Pavitra here from Disciples Abroad. So, here actually, as we are partnerized with the various universities too, apart from Germany, so I would like request whoever is interested with Spain, France, Singapore, Dubai, and UK universities, to contact us so that we will be, we will provide all the help and the support needed with the various courses on a case-to-case basis. So according to the requirement, like we will be able to help you out with the program details as well and give you all the information and the inputs regarding the study abroad.
So probably anybody who's interested in getting into OC education and study abroad, it may be in the field of computer science, management, or medical. You can get in touch with Ms. Pavitra. So I've shared a number in the chat box.
Yeah, we are always here to support the students, whoever are interested, to help them out.
Thank you, Pavitra, for pitching in and giving some clarity. So your number, I have shared your number in the chat box. So if anybody is interested, they can call her up and get the clarification.
Definitely,
so, any more questions?
Just help them with the same.
Yes, madam. Thank you. So, dear participants, any more questions?
So, hello, Mr. Shivaprasad. I have like last one question, if I may ask. Okay,
Yes.
so I always wanted to go Germany, and I always follow people on YouTube. So I can see a lot of improvements in their communication skills as well as their confidence when they go abroad. So, others, is that really happening case, or is just the YouTube what I'm talking about?
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not the confidence. It's a situation which makes you come out of your comfort zone. So I wouldn't say that is just a hype thing, but you get influenced with the people around you. So the more you meet people, the more you try to become confident and try to talk to people, because here you would, if you don't talk to people, you feel alone. If you feel alone, you feel depressed. If you feel depressed, you won't be able to do anything. So in order to avoid all those stuff, it's good to talk to someone, and you really get influenced with people around you. I would say, from my personal experience, I am basically a shy person. I was also not so confident as I was when I first arrived here in Germany, but there is some truth to it, I would say. Does that answer your?
Okay, got it. So basically, if you are living so far away from home, that really helps people a lot. That also we might consider. Anyways, thanks for answering the question. I got my answer.
There's another question. So, as you were alone in Germany, how did you fight the loneliness and, as you said, the word depression?
Yeah. Just to get engaged, do stuff which makes you meet more people more often. Try to meet with people who you feel comfortable with. It's not just partying, it's also meeting with people who share your interests, and also try to be more engaging rather than saying, yeah, I'm feeling depressed, I don't feel like doing stuff. For me personally, what helped me most is I started to do marathon running when at one point I was also getting I don't want to say depressed, but a bit lonely. And by doing that, I met some people who also started to do this marathon stuff, and ultimately we have good friends now. So that is the way I would suggest to not to feel lonely or depressed.
Hi, Adarsh. Nishant
Hi.
this side. So I would like to know what is it about the German education that sets it apart from Indian education system or any other education system as it matter? Is it just the networking part, or is there anything fundamentally different about the way they teach or the way they are learning?
Yeah, that's a nice question, Nishant. So what I found out, which was really interesting, is here the professors, so they basically teach subjects which they started to do research on it, and they, for example, here the classes are more like you go to the seminar hall, and the professor would be explaining about a subject. He would giving out some slides, and the thing is, once you decide to go for an exam, they would ask questions about the not the definition, but they would ask you questions in a way that they would really try to know how have you understood the subject, how have you grasped the knowledge, how are you well versed with the concept of the subject which you are giving the exam for. So for me, what I found interesting is it's the understanding part which I was lacking. I spoke to some of the professors, and they suggested, because I was a shy person by nature, and basically you have to give an interview with the professors who invented the subject. So of course I was a bit hesitant. So at one point they told me, it's not about the definitions, it's your definition of the subject which is important, which I found out very fascinating. And then I could actually not just memorize, but understand and explain them. Yeah, this is what I thought about the subject. This is how I have understood it. And I feel that's a bit different from the way we studied in India, because we have some professors which are really nice, who actually try to understand what the students have written, but most of the times it's like you have a definition, and if that definition is not correct, then you're wrong. Yeah, I feel that is a bit different from Indian education and the studies which I did here.
Great to know that the professors are listening to students and understanding their perspective as well.
Yes.
So Adarsh,
That's
do
my
you
question.
think that, sorry?
You can continue.
Yes, thank you. Adarsh, what do you suggest? A fresher directly coming to Germany or any part of the country, or a fresher getting skilled on a particular areas, or like just you can say as a certification done, will that be helpful for a candidate over there? This certificate hold value, skill certificate.
Skill certificate will be anyhow helpful. It's not just the certificate, it's the knowledge which you have from the certificate, which is always helpful. So given a choice between those two, I would say if you have a skill, rather than rather not having that skill, I would say skill would help you any time of your life. It's not just the certificate. You will carry that experience throughout your life.
Okay, good. Yes, so we have come to the end of the session now. Thank you, Adarsh. There's a lot of other questions. Probably we don't have time. If you can share your email ID in the chat box, they can directly ask you and get the clarification done. So
Sure.
there are a lot of praises which are coming up. Thank you, Adarsh sir, for the wonderful session. Really, it was a very interesting session. We got to know a lot. Thanks for sharing your experience. Thank you. Thanks a
My,
lot. So,
my
lot of
pleasure.
thank you coming up. So, before we go ahead with the end of the session, can you give any inputs or guidance for the fresh graduates now? How they can overcome in their career?
Yeah.
Hello, Adarsh?
Hello. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it.
Yes.
So I would suggest first try to write down how do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to see yourself? This may sound a bit on a philosophical level, but this really helps. Visualizing yourself how you would see yourself in the coming years. And also this sounds a bit cheesy because that's like a question every person would be asked in an interview, but it has some meaning in it. Write down what you would try to achieve to reach that goal in the next 5 years. This might be starting a job or starting learning new language, or maybe as simple as learning a musical instrument. So just try to have a goal and try to work on that area. Yeah. Coming to the level of going to Germany or continuing your education, I've been saying the same thing over and over again. Discuss the things which you are interested with. I'm really happy that some people already know, like Tejas, he already knows what kind of subject he wants to do it. So I'm sure that he did some research on what kind of subject. It's not just researching about the subject, it's researching about the subject which you are interested in, which matters the most. So yeah, if you do not know which subject you want to specialize in, contact people about the subjects contact people who already know about this subject or who are well versed in the field. Like in computer science, if you talk to your professors or your teachers, your lecturers, they would definitely know. So that would be the takeaway. Talk to your lecturers.
Very rightly said, Adarsh. Talk to your lecturers. You have a very wonderful team at Nagarjuna also. So you can talk to them, take their guidance, take their experience, and you can go ahead in your life. So thank you, Adarsh. Thanks a lot. Misbah, you can take over the session now.
Okay. So, thank you, Adarsh sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge and experience with us. So moving further, yes, dear participants, I hope you have found today's session enriching. Before we conclude, I want to give you a quick preview of some of the exciting upcoming sessions lined up for the Disciples India Learning Forum. These are just a few highlights, but we may have many more amazing sessions in the pipeline spanning diverse topics. Our goal is to continue providing you varied and substantive learning opportunities. So lined up, we have a 122nd online learning session, which is taking place on 25th of May on the topic changing trends in corporate expectations. And the guest speaker will be Mr. Likith Ramesh. And the followed will be our 124th online learning session on the topic, how do you manage your stress? And the guest speaker will be Ms. Kavita, and it will be conducting on the date 1st June 2024. And again, we have our 138th learning session on the topic generative AI tools in higher education and research. And the guest speaker will be Mary Joyce Vincia V. Yes. Please fill out the Google feedback form sent in the chat box. This will allow you to receive your e-certificate for today's session. So now I would like to invite Dr. Sanjeeva Kumar M. Hatture, Professor and HOD, Department of Information Science and Engineering, Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, Bengaluru, to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mishba. Okay, so before giving vote of thanks, first I want to give the information about the Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology. As sir mentioned, in our college, we are already offering the two subjects, like say German language as well as a Japanese language, along with all technological and other value-added courses here. So as a vote of thanks here, first I thank the organizers, Disciplines India Learning Forum, and the management of Nagarjuna Group of Institution, the director and the principal, Dr. B. Ravi Shankar of Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, for helping this, arranging this particular, say, workshop on study and career opportunities for Indian students in German. I also thank today's speaker, Mr. Adarsh TM, for providing valuable information about both study as well as career opportunities in Germany for Indian students mainly. And I thank mainly Dr. Rupasri Tantri Madam for helping to organize this particular, say, workshop for the students of mainly Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, Bengaluru. I thank all the participants, the students of different branches of Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology. I thank one and all for attending this session. Okay, finally, again, once again I thank Disciplines India Learning Forum. As Mishba mentioned, our students are eager to attend all the sessions what you shared about information in future. So I thank you one and all once again. Good night. Over to Mishba.
Thank you, sir. Let's now stand up for the national anthem.
तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा, जन गण वंदन आनंद भाग्य विधाता, जय हे, जय हे, जय हे, जय 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 हे।
Yes, dear participants, for those who are interested in being a part of Disciples India Learning Forum going forward, please connect with Mr. Shiva Prasad KM or Professor Jayant H on the contact details posted on the screen. You can also alternatively email us at dilearningforum@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube and visit our website at www.disciplesindia.in to stay updated on all our upcoming events and sessions. With that, On behalf of the entire Disciples India Learning Forum team, thank you and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you all. Thank you, Adarsh.
Thank you, Adarsh sir and Shiv Prasad sir too.
Okay, thank you, sir. Shiva Prasad sir as well as other sir.
It was my pleasure.